This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it. Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be. Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
Carry on.
I know you like that.
Hell yeah.
Sheryl Swoopes just got benched, but not on the court. The WNBA legend was pulled from the Indiana Fever versus Dallas Wings broadcast. Why? It looks like her Caitlin Clark comments finally caught up with her. You won't believe what happened next. Sheryl Swoopes just got kicked off a broadcast, and it's all because of Caitlin Clark. Can you believe it? The basketball world is buzzing, and I'm here to spill all the tea. Let's talk about who these two are real quick. Swoopes, she's a WNBA legend, 4-time champ, 3-time MVP. She's basically basketball royalty. And Clark, she's the new kid on the block, a rookie sensation playing for the Indiana Fever. This girl can score and make plays like nobody's business. Now here's where it gets wild. We're about to break down how a basketball legend might have let jealousy ruin her career. And trust me, what happened next is insane. You won't believe how a few words and one awkward silence turned into a full-blown drama.
How much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Yeah, and it's not to take anything away from what she's done, but if you're talking about breaking records, then if this player did it in this amount of time, then you should do it in that same amount of time.
It's like watching a real-life sports movie unfold, and we've got front-row seats to all the action. Remember when your teacher used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all? Looks like Sheryl Swoopes took that advice a little too literally during a recent broadcast. Her silence spoke volumes, and the internet couldn't stop talking about it. Picture this. Swoopes is sitting there, ready to analyze the game, when her co-host starts praising Caitlin Clark for winning player of the week. And what does Swoopes do? She goes completely silent. Not for a few seconds, not for 10 seconds, but for a full 50 seconds. It's like she suddenly forgot how to speak. Now, imagine being in that broadcast booth. The tension must have been so thick you could cut it with a knife. Her co-host is probably thinking, did Sheryl just disappear? Is she even breathing? And viewers at home? They're probably checking their TVs to see if the sound went out. But here's where it gets wild. The fans watching this go down, they didn't stay silent. Nope, they took to social media faster than you can say awkward moment. They were ruthless, absolutely roasting Swoopes for her silent treatment. One fan even joked that Swoopes went to throw up when Clark was being praised.
Well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying.
Another one said, that was so awkward. What's wrong with her? It's like they were watching a comedy show, but Swoopes wasn't in on the joke. You know what's even crazier? This wasn't just a random moment of weirdness. This silent treatment was like the final act in the ongoing drama between Swoopes and Clark. It's as if all the tension, all the criticism, all the back and forth finally boiled over into this one. Excruciatingly long moment of silence. Let's break it down. Swoopes, a legend in her own right, has been pretty vocal about Clark in the past, and not in a go-get-em rookie kind of way. More like a, I'm not impressed kind of way. So when it came time to acknowledge Clark's achievements, Swoopes chose to say absolutely nothing. But here's the thing. Silence isn't always golden, especially not when you're supposed to be, commenting on the game. It's like showing up to a karaoke night and just standing there with the mic, staring at the crowd. People are gonna notice, and they're not gonna be happy. And notice they did. Fans didn't just call out the awkwardness. They saw it as Swoopes straight up refusing to give Clark her props. It's like when your sibling refuses to admit you won a game. Except this isn't a backyard basketball hoop, this is the WNBA, and people are watching. Turns out, sometimes talking can get you in even more trouble than staying quiet. Swoopes had plenty to say about Caitlin Clark before that silent moment, and those words came back to haunt her. What happens when a basketball icon takes on the new face of the league? Let's just say it's not pretty. You know how they say there's a fine line between criticism and hate? Well, Swoopes didn't just cross that line, she sprinted past it, leaving the basketball world in shock. It all started with Swoopes making some pretty wild claims about Clark's game. She said Clark was taking 40 shots a game. Now, if you've been watching Clark play, you know that's just not true. The rookie's actually averaging around 22.7 shots per game. That's a big difference. But Swoopes didn't stop there. there. She went on to say that Clark didn't deserve the Rookie of the Year award compared to Angel Reese. It's like she was determined to downplay everything Clark was achieving. And folks, the basketball world noticed. Enter Stephen A. Smith, the guy who's never afraid to speak his mind. He called Swoopes' comments insane. Can you imagine? A legend like Swoopes getting called out like that? It's like watching your favorite superhero get taken down a peg. Now, you'd think Swoopes would back down, right? Nope. She tried to defend herself, saying, "First off, I was asked for my opinion. Never hating on anybody. Way too blessed for that. But here's the thing. When your opinion doesn't match up with the facts, it's not really an opinion anymore. It's just wrong." Swoopes even messed up on some basic facts, like how many seasons Clark played in college. It's like she was so focused on criticizing Clark that she forgot to double-check her information. And in the world of sports commentary, that's a big no-no. You know what's really wild? This whole drama exposed a bigger issue in women's basketball. It's not just about Swoopes and Clark anymore. It's about the old guard feeling threatened by the new stars. It's about change, and how some people just can't handle it. ESPN analyst Elle Duncan got caught up in this mess too. She commented on Swoopes' remarks without listening to the whole show. Oops, she had to apologize later for misrepresenting what Swoopes said. It just goes to show how easy it is for things to spiral out of control in the world of sports media. But here's the real kicker. All this drama, it might have cost Swoopes her spot on future broadcasts. That's right, one moment of silence and a bunch of questionable comments could have ended her commentary career. Talk about a high-stakes game. You'd think a legend like Swoopes would know better, right? Wrong. This isn't just about one bad take. It's about a clash that's been brewing in the WNBA for years. Old school versus new school, and it's getting ugly. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. This Swoopes-Clark drama, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's like we've got front row seats to a battle that's been simmering under the surface of women's basketball for a while now. On one side, we've got the legends. The players who paved the way, who fought tooth and nail to make the WNBA what it is today. They're proud of their legacy, and rightfully so. But then you've got the new generation coming in hot, breaking records and changing the game. Now, you'd think these two groups would be on the same team, right? Building each other up, passing the torch. But sometimes it's not that simple, and that's exactly what we're seeing with Swoopes and Clark. ESPN analyst Elle Duncan hit the nail on the head when she said, "This just doesn't feel right at all, and it is starting to feel like hate from Sheryl." Ouch. That's a strong word. Hate. But it gets you thinking, is this really about Clark's game, or is there something deeper going on? Duncan thinks Swoopes might be lashing out because she's hurt. Remember all that backlash she got for her earlier comments about Clark? That's gotta sting. It's like Swoopes is stuck in this cycle of criticism and backlash, and she can't seem to break out of it. But here's where it gets tricky. Swoopes isn't just any player. She's a commentator now, and that comes with a whole new set of rules. She's gotta balance being honest with being fair. And let's be real, that's not always easy. Think about it. You've got these legends who've been the face of the sport for years. Suddenly, there's a new kid on the block getting all the attention. It's gotta be hard to sit back and watch someone else steal the spotlight. But here's the kicker. Swoopes herself has said that players like Clark could bring new fans to the WNBA. So she knows how important these rising stars are. It's like she's caught between recognizing the future of the sport and holding on to her own legacy. And it's not just Swoopes. This whole situation is making everyone in women's basketball take a hard look at themselves. How do you transition from being a player to being a commentator? How do you give honest critiques without coming off as jealous or bitter? It's a tightrope walk, and Swoopes just lost her balance. Big time. Her silence during that broadcast. It wasn't just awkward, it was a career-changing moment, and not in a good way. But let's not forget, this isn't just about Swoopes and Clark. It's about how the whole game is changing, and not everyone's ready for it. The WNBA is growing, evolving. New stars are rising. New records are being set. And that's exciting, but it also means some of the old guard might feel left behind. So what do we do? How do we bridge this gap between the legends and the rookies? Between the old school and the new school? It's not going to be easy, but it's a conversation we need to have. Because at the end of the day, isn't this what we want? A league that's growing, changing, getting better? A sport that's attracting new fans and pushing boundaries? Maybe this whole Swoopes-Clark drama is just growing pains. Painful, public, awkward growing pains.